Hey everybody, welcome to Chapter 3 of TrendSpider University. We're going to be talking about automation today, and there's really 5 different things you can automate on the platform. Trend lines, Fibonacci levels, heat maps, candlestick patterns, and seasonality. So we'll start with the automated trend lines, and just remember, when you are using trends, this is the button to turn on for auto trends. So click on trends, and if you remember from the intro video, if you click on these 3 dots, you can change these different trend lines. So remember that these trend lines that we have on the chart are not something that is just these lines are the only lines you can look at. You can really make this similar to whatever style of trend line drawing that you have to make that whole process a lot more efficient. So as I mentioned, analysis type is going to be looking at the distance between the candles. The drawing input is going to be connecting the lines by wick to wick or body to body. The islands or gaps in price are going to respect or ignore these areas on the chart. So trend lines will either be drawn through them or not. And so then you always click apply whenever you change any of these. So in this case, you can see here that we have a couple different trend lines. But remember, another thing about the auto trends here is the ability to refresh and lock, and this is actually the case for the Fibonacci levels as well as the heat map. So anytime that you have this vertical line here, remember the bottom, or sometimes it will be at the top, is always going to show you the last time that the system looked at this data. So in this case, April 7th is the last time that the system looked at this data. So we have about 2.5 weeks of price action that's not being accounted for here. So if we go and refresh and lock, these trend lines are going to update now to all of the most recent price action. You'll see we have these different lines here. As we talked about in the previous video, remember, you can choose the trend lines you want to have on the chart. There's a lot of different trend lines you can have on the chart, but sometimes they kind of pollute the chart a little bit. You don't want to necessarily have all of these on the chart because it's a little distracting. So definitely the next step here on the auto trend side of things is to lock in the trend lines that you want to lock in. Maybe you want to lock in this line here, just double click it. Maybe you want to lock in this upper maybe resistance, could potentially be resistance in the future. Just double click, lock it in here. Turn off trends, and now you have 2 lines rather than 10 lines on the chart. Then you're able to go in and create your alerts on these areas, so then you can have TrendSpider watch these levels for you. As I mentioned, just right click, create the alert at this line, add sensitivity. You can choose from a breakthrough, touch, or a bounce. You can choose the confirmation candle. The confirmation candle is really just the ability to choose what time frame you want to be alerted on. The alert name you can change, the note you can add, and then you choose your expiration criteria here as well. So once you've locked in the trend lines you want to lock in, you do have the ability to go in and add the alerts so you can have the system watch this stuff for you. Now, the auto fibs are another tool on the platform that are tied to the trends. So remember, if you have wick to wick or body to body on the drawing input for the trend preferences, it's going to connect the wick to wick on the auto fibs. You'll see here if I change this body to body and click apply, the auto fibs are actually going to connect the bodies now instead of the wicks. So remember here, if we go back to wick and click apply, we're connecting the wicks. Now if you go to body, click apply, we're connecting the bodies here, as you can see on the fibs. Now also the analysis type is also something that will change as you change the auto fibs. So let's say that we do original instead of enhanced. Original is looking at sometimes a further distance between the candles, and we click apply, you'll see that we're actually measuring a bigger move here. So if you do want the system to maybe find a larger move for the auto fibs, make sure to change this in the trend settings. So as I mentioned, if you go back to enhanced, this measured move is going to become smaller because we're looking at a smaller distance between the candles. So that is how you can use the auto fibs. You can also create alerts on any Fibonacci level that you're looking for. Now the next one is the heat maps. The heat map is something that you do have to make sure that the log scale is turned off. The heat maps only work on a log scale turned off. So if we go to heat map, click heat map, you'll see here that there's 3 different types of heat maps that we have: horizontal, depth, and trends. Horizontal is probably the most common one that people use. And sometimes you will have a little bit of a delay pulling that up, just a couple seconds due to the back end functionality of this, but you'll see it pops up very quickly, and you can see here that we do have the truth and analysis line at the most recent candle. So that means that this is refreshed as much as it can be because there's no other candles in front of this line. And so you can see these different heat map levels. A lot of the time, price will move quickly through some of these gaps here that you see, kind of this heat map gap that we have. And so this is something that's really nice. And maybe you don't want to have all of these heat map levels on the chart. You can easily go in and just highlight these areas with horizontal levels, and then you turn off heat maps and they're still there. So that is a way that you can clean up the chart a little bit if you don't want all of those heat map levels on the chart at the exact same time. Now, another thing that we can automate on the platform, and this is both on the educational side of things, as well as just the ability to go back and quickly look at, the last time a hammer formed or a bullish engulfing candle formed. You can go into the patterns button here, and anytime that you want to add a candlestick pattern, or anytime you really want to edit anything on the platform, if there's 3 dots next to a button, that allows you to go in and actually edit this. So in this case, just click these 3 dots. You'll see that we do not have any candlestick patterns picked yet. And then you can actually click this all patterns. And if you're a student of the Strat, or if you're a student of Jeremy Newsom, who is the founder of Real Life Trading, we have their candles in the platform that you can go in and actually start learning how these look. So maybe you're a part of Real Life Trading and you want to know how to start identifying some of these patterns, such as, let's say, the wicked pair. Just click apply, and anytime a wicked pair candlestick pattern pops up on the chart, it will highlight it here for you. So you can start training your eye on what this looks like. You can do this for any candlestick pattern we have. We have a ton of different candlestick patterns to choose from. Just make sure to click all patterns here on this drop-down menu, and you'll be able to see all of the different patterns that we have. So maybe you want to learn what a bullish engulfing candle is, or just an engulfing candle in general. Click engulfing here, click apply, and anytime you have a bearish or bullish engulfing candle, you'll be able to see that on the chart. So in this case, you can see anytime this second hand candlestick here, this number 2, if you will, this is number 1. Anytime that this is engulfing the previous body, that's going to be bullish. Anytime that you have an engulfing candle on the bearish side, this right-hand candle is going to be engulfing this previous one, but for the bearish, you've got a red candle here. So that is a way that you can really start training your eye on what these look like. And as I mentioned, we have well over 100 different patterns you can look for. Maybe you're looking for a hammer. One thing I'll mention here, we do sometimes have 2 candlestick patterns. One of these candlestick patterns, hammer without the TPS next to it, is just a regular hammer pattern. And you can see if you click on docs here, this will take you to a new page, and it will take you to exactly what this is looking for. And then with the TPS, the pattern site, and you click on docs, this will take you to Thomas Bolkowski's website, which highlights exactly what he's looking for in a hammer. So that is the difference. Whenever you see 2 candlestick patterns together, it's just looking at the pattern site by Thomas Bolkowski, or just our regular hammer that we have programmed in there. So anytime you want to add any of these patterns, just click on it, make sure you click apply, and you'll see they will pop up. Now in a hammer, let's see if we have any hammers. And if you ever want to clear the list, just click on clear. But let's go back to hammer and see if there's any hammers that pop up. And you could add both of them if you want, or maybe if you just want to see Thomas Bolkowski's definition of a hammer, click apply, and you'll see these will pop up. Now there's not a ton of them on this particular chart for BA, but you'll see here that here's one from February 23rd of 2021 highlighted. And if you go back in time, you'll be able to see different hammers that do show up on the chart. And remember, you can apply this candlestick pattern recognition to the scanner. You can apply it to the back tester. So if you do want to go and back test a specific candlestick pattern, just go to the strategy tester or the market scanner, and you can do that as well. I'll be touching on that in the coming videos when we go over the strategy tester and the scanner individually. The last thing that you can really automate on the platform is seasonality. And I really touch on the automation side of seasonality because if you've ever tried to look and go through, let's say, the last 5 years of price action, and you want to see, every time the new year starts, or every time the new quarter starts, or whatever the case is, it takes a lot of time to go back and do all of this stuff and search, okay, what was the return, highlighting it on the chart. That takes a lot of time. So simply going to the sidebar here, show sidebar, you'll see that the seasonality widget's already pulled up, but if you want to pull that up, just go to add or remove widgets. You can remove this. You can add another widget if you'd like at the bottom. So we'll just touch on seasonality here because that's really the most automated thing that we have in the widgets tool that is generally a manual process. Click done. You'll see that this pops up. You can look at seasonality on a monthly basis. You can look at it on a weekly basis. I like to do day-to-day basis sometimes, looking at the beginning of the year. So you can say, since the start of 2021, how has each day of the week performed for Boeing? You can see that Friday is clearly the worst performing day of the week so far in 2021, and you can get an idea if there's any edge trading a specific day, or maybe going into Monday, maybe the play is buying on weakness on Friday and selling into a little more strength on Monday. There's really some big discrepancies in some of this seasonality, so make sure to check that out across the board, whatever stocks you're trading, and you can really complement that with technical analysis and get quite an edge in the market doing this. If you're looking at, let's say, the month of the year, I like to anchor from different points in time. 2016 is a time where we really bottomed out and started the next big leg in the market. So I like to, a lot of the time on the monthly side, anchor from the 2016 lows, which is about 5 years out. And you'll be able to see some really interesting data. Notice March was a really weak month over the last 5 years with only a 33% win rate. Well, I guess 6 years now because 2021's already happened. So you'll be able to see some really interesting statistics here using the seasonality, and something that really makes that whole process of looking for this data a lot more efficient than going through and manually doing that yourself. So hopefully this video was helpful in understanding the automation side of TrendSpider, and really it's an automation layer. A lot of the different things that we have on the platform fall into different layers, and this is definitely a video touching on those automation layers, such as the trend lines, the fibs, the heat maps, patterns, and seasonality. Let's move on to the next chapter, and hopefully this video was helpful.